Luka Doncic absolutely embarrassed Dennis Schroeder, and the NBA hasn't stopped buzzing since it happened. After all that loud trash talk back in December, Schroeder strutted into that hallway like this was finally his moment to stand tall against Luka. Big mistake. Massive mistake. What Dennis didn't understand was simple. This situation had already grown way bigger than him before he even opened his mouth. The cameras caught a clean, edited version of the exchange, and the league quickly pushed out a polite explanation to keep things calm. But that version barely scratched the surface. Sources close to the situation say Luka wasn't walking those halls alone at all, and the people who stepped in weren't random friends or basic security. These were league-known figures who only get involved when things are about to cross a serious line. And once you hear that, the whole moment hits different. Before we even get to the game or the hallway drama, understand this. This wasn't some random emotional outburst. This was two players from completely different levels of the NBA food chain colliding in the same space. And that gap, that imbalance, is exactly why the tension exploded the way it did. Dennis has always played with an edge, no doubt about that. He entered the league as a fast, confident guard who believed he belonged anywhere he stepped. To his credit, he did carve out a real career. Starter, sixth man, playoff minutes, real roles. But his career has also been defined by one thing that never stopped following him: instability. Hawks to Thunder, Thunder to Lakers, Lakers to Celtics, Celtics to Rockets, Rockets back to Lakers, then Raptors, Nets, Warriors, Pistons, and now the Kings. That's a whole lot of jerseys and not a lot of roots. When you move that much, every game feels like an audition and every matchup feels personal. That constant bouncing explains his energy. Dennis plays like someone who is always trying to prove he belongs in rooms he keeps getting invited into, but never truly owns. Fans see it too. There's a reason the journeyman label sticks, and it didn't come out of nowhere. The real issue is that his mouth often moves faster than his resume. Dennis talks like an unstoppable superstar, but his production has always lived in that solid, replaceable zone. Quick, annoying, competitive, sure. But dominant, franchise shifting, not even close. He has never been the centerpiece of a winning team, yet he talks like someone who bends organizations around himself. And that disconnect is where trouble starts. We saw it during the tension with Kevin Durant when things spilled over from international play into NBA matchups. Teammates and opponents have said the same thing for years. Dennis brings extra heat into moments that don't need it. Now compare that to Luka Doncic, and the difference is wild. Luka came into the league with a target on his back from day one. A European teenager with crazy confidence, an old man game, and zero fear. From his very first season, grown professionals tried to test him, and most of them learned real fast that poking Luka comes with consequences. This wasn't just trash talk. This was hierarchy getting checked in real time. And once you see it that way, the entire incident makes way more sense. They pressed him full court, barked at him nonstop, leaned into him with contact, and tried to bully him physically. And almost every single time, Luka responded the exact same way. He smiled, cooked them alive, and talked back without ever losing control of the game or the moment. That's the thing about Luka Doncic. His trash talk is quiet for a reason. He does not yell. He does not flex early. He waits until he is already beating you, then drops one line that hits right where it hurts the most. That's why it sticks. That's why it crawls under people's skin. And on top of that, Luka does not look like someone you can push around. He is bigger than people think, stronger than he looks, and when games get chippy, he usually plays better, not worse. That calm confidence drives opponents crazy, especially guys who are already frustrated with their place in the league. Guys like Dennis Schroeder. And that's exactly where their problem started. At first, it looked like just another heated NBA exchange, two competitors jawing like always. But when you look at their histories, it becomes obvious this was never staying on the court. One player is used to being tested and responding with dominance. The other is used to fighting for respect that never fully sticks. And when those two mindsets collide, things do not cool down. They spill over.
Yeah, I don't think there was an attempt. There was a successful, I don't know if it's open hand, but he got to Luka Doncic. And to be honest with you, you don't get 3 games for like running around in a hallway. That's not what you get 3 games.
That brings us to December 28th, a night that was basically chaos waiting to happen. Lakers versus Kings. And Luka showed exactly why he is untouchable on that floor. He dropped 34 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, drilled multiple threes, grabbed steals, and controlled the entire vibe of the arena like it was his living room. Meanwhile, Dennis finished with 11 points, 7 assists, a negative plus-minus, and body language that screamed frustration. The scoreboard did not match the story Dennis wanted to tell that night, and honestly, that is peak Dennis energy. Competitive, emotional, heated, but watching someone else run the show. Everyone in the building could see it. Luka was schooling him in real time. But here's where it really turned messy because it stopped being about stats and became about ego. At one point, Dennis went straight at Luka and crossed a serious line verbally. He forgot who he was dealing with, and worse, he forgot the moment he was in, right in the middle of the third quarter. And Luka's response? Ice cold. According to professional lip readers who broke down the clip, Luka leaned in and dropped a line that made every NBA fan's jaw hit the floor. This was not playful banter. This was pure mental warfare. Years earlier, when Dennis was with the Lakers, he reportedly had a massive extension on the table. A 4-year deal worth around $84 million. Real money, real security, a clear role as a primary guard, but he walked away. Maybe he thought he could get more. Maybe he believed something bigger was coming. Either way, he said no and bet on himself. Fast forward to December 2025, Dennis is now with the Kings on a struggling squad. Meanwhile, Luka is dropping 34 like it's light work, running the game, running the building, running the conversation. And that's when Luka reportedly leaned in and reminded him of that choice. Right there on the court. Not loud, not dramatic, just precise. Step up or stay quiet energy. The wild part is this all happened mid-game while Luka was already winning. You could literally see Dennis getting more frustrated every time Luka touched the ball. He tried to get under Luka's skin, but it wasn't working. And let's be real, if things had actually turned physical on the court, it would have ended badly for Dennis. Luka is 6'7", built solid, and has handled much bigger defenders his entire career. This isn't some fair matchup story, this is hierarchy on display. Meanwhile, the Kings were spiraling at that point, sitting deep in the standings, while the Lakers were climbing back after a rough stretch. The blowout on the scoreboard said everything. And here's a detail most people missed. Allegedly, the Jokic brothers, Strahinja and Nemanja, close to Nikola Jokic, were in Los Angeles supporting Luka, known around the league for not tolerating nonsense. By the time the buzzer sounded, the game was over, but the tension absolutely was not. This was a powder keg waiting to ignite. About 40 minutes after the Kings' locker room cleared out, Dennis made one of the worst decisions of his career. Still heated, still emotional, he walked down the hallway clearly looking for a personal showdown with Luka. According to multiple reports, his mouth was still running. He allegedly told Luka something along the lines of, "You can't say that on the court and act like everything is fine afterward." Translation? He wasn't letting it go. He wanted to assert something off the court. What Dennis didn't realize was that the moment had already shifted out of his control, and what happened next made the entire situation explode beyond basketball. You could feel the ego dripping from every single word Dennis threw out there. But here's where the story gets twisted fast. The media mostly framed this as Dennis attempting to strike Luka Doncic, and that became the NBA's official version. End of story, right? Not even close. Officially, Dennis Schroeder was handed a 3-game suspension and hit with a fine just under $292,000. A lot of fans saw that headline and thought, okay, drama over. But that's only the smallest piece of what really went down. Here's what the NBA doesn't spell out loudly. This wasn't just a guy yelling in a hallway. According to insiders, Dennis didn't just talk, he made a move, and that's where everything flipped instantly. Enter the real turning point of the night. According to multiple eyewitnesses, Strahinja and Nemanja Jokic, the older brothers of Nikola Jokic, stepped straight into the situation. And if you know anything about the Jokic brothers, you already know this wasn't going to end quietly. Let's pause right there. These guys are not subtle, not passive, and definitely not background characters. Their reputation around the league is crystal clear, especially when it comes to protecting people close to them. Insiders say the hallway scene was strange from the jump. Dennis came in heated, loud, convinced he was about to confront Luka and walk away feeling dominant. But then the atmosphere shifted instantly. Strahinja and Nemanja stepped in together, solid, imposing, moving like a wall closing off space. No yelling, no chaos, just presence. Dennis realized fast that this was no longer a one-on-one situation.
Here at 5, we're learning Nikola Jokic's brother has been criminally charged in that brawl at a Nuggets game back in April. Strahinja Jokic is being charged with assault in the 3rd degree, knowingly, reckless bodily injury too. According to court documents, Jokic said he felt he did nothing wrong because he was, quote, defending an older...
Eyewitnesses say the tension spiked for a few seconds, and then just as quickly, Dennis was forced to back off down the hallway. The spot where he planned to assert himself turned into the place where he lost all momentum. And yes, insiders say he backed off fast. That exact wording keeps coming up. Here's the wild part. The brothers handled it so cleanly that league insiders later joked about Luka keeping them around permanently. After seeing how fast the situation shut down, it makes sense why that idea even came up. Meanwhile, DeAndre Ayton and arena security were also present. Ayton reportedly stepped between both sides, acting as a physical buffer while security followed protocol. But according to multiple people there, the real moment everyone noticed was how efficiently the Jokic brothers took control. Now let's talk about that suspension, because this is where analysts started raising eyebrows. Officially 3 games and a heavy fine. But longtime NBA watchers pointed out something didn't add up. A suspension that long usually signals real intent, not just heated words or a harmless miss. That detail alone pushed people to believe the eyewitness accounts. It looked like the league was trying to soften the story publicly while still acknowledging that Dennis crossed a serious line. And Dennis didn't exactly help himself afterward. When the league announced the punishment, he reacted online in a way that many fans saw as mocking the wording. That reaction only fueled belief that what happened went beyond an attempt. So while the public version stayed simple behind closed doors, insiders say the moment hit Dennis hard. He went looking for a confrontation and instead ran straight into a situation he could not control. Now let's talk about the Jokic brothers themselves, because most fans only know Nikola Jokic as the calm, soft-spoken MVP. The men around him, completely different energy. Strahinja and Nemanja are not random tough guys posturing for attention. They have a documented history of standing their ground when lines are crossed. Take April 2024 during a Nuggets playoff game against the Lakers. Strahinja reportedly reacted after a fan said something disrespectful. Within seconds, he was moving across rows like a man on a mission. The incident went viral immediately and made headlines everywhere. Legal consequences followed later, but the message was already loud. Don't disrespect people they care about. That same mentality was present in that hallway with Dennis. Now add Nemanja into the mix. He's quieter, less viral, but insiders say the brothers move as one unit. If you challenge one, you're dealing with both. Another moment fans remember came in 2021 during a Nuggets versus Heat game involving Markieff Morris. After a heated on-court incident, the brothers didn't stay silent. They went online and directly called out the situation, making their stance clear. The NBA world noticed instantly. Even the Morris twins later joked about it publicly, but they also acknowledged the reputation and presence of the Jokic brothers. That's how they're viewed around the league. Are they professional fighters? No! But they train, they're physical, and their confidence alone changes the energy of any room they step into. And that's why that night mattered so much. Because if DeAndre Ayton hadn't stepped in as a buffer, insiders believe the situation could have spiraled fast. Dennis learned a tough lesson that night. Choose your confrontations carefully, because not every hallway is the right place to test pride, especially when hierarchy, history, and backup are all standing on the other side. Let's be real for a second. Dennis Schroeder has always been one of those NBA names that people either defend hard or clown relentlessly. There's never been much middle ground with him. But after the Luka hallway moment, all those quiet doubts people had about Dennis got dragged straight into the spotlight. No hiding anymore. And this is where things get uncomfortable for him, because that hallway situation wasn't some random slip-up or unlucky moment. It was just the latest chapter in a pattern that's been building for years, and once you zoom out, the picture gets loud. Anytime you talk about a player whose personality constantly rubs people the wrong way, you eventually land on one infamous beef, Schroeder versus Kevin Durant, and yeah, this one raised eyebrows across the whole league. It all popped off after the 2024 Paris Olympics. Dennis went on record talking about the difference between European basketball and the NBA, saying European hoops is straight IQ basketball, and not all about entertainment like in the US. That comment alone lit a fire, because that's not just trash talk, that's a full-on shot at the league that pays you. Then KD responded without even naming him. Durant posted a photo with Team USA's gold medal, captioned "Entertainment and IQ" after winning the tournament. No names, no tags, but NBA Twitter connected the dots instantly because the timing was way too perfect. Now here's where Dennis lost the plot. Instead of letting it slide or keeping it professional, he jumped on Twitch and called Kevin Durant weak as a person. Not weak on defense, not weak in a game, but his character. That's when fans leaned back and went, "Wait, what are you doing? You don't just come for Kevin Durant like that." A 14-time All-Star, MVP, Olympic gold medalist, one of the most respected scorers the league has ever seen. A normal player doesn't pick that fight, especially without a superstar resume to stand on. That's not confidence, that's ego running wild.
Then they won, and Kevin Durant treat high IQ and entertainment. For me, that's just being weak.
And that same ego is exactly what led Dennis to test Luka Doncic at the worst possible moment. With how Luka controls games, energy, and entire arenas, even legends move carefully around him. Even LeBron James wouldn't come at Luka sideways like that. But the KD situation is only one slice of the story. The bigger reason fans look at Dennis sideways is his career path, the classic NBA journeyman run that never seems to stop. Dennis entered the league in 2013 with the Hawks and spent 5 solid seasons there. He did his job, put up numbers, played hard, but he was never the guy a franchise built its future around. In 2018, he moved to the Thunder, trying to prove he could truly run a team. Then came the Lakers in 2020, and suddenly the spotlight got real bright. After that, it was Celtics in 2021, Rockets in 2022, and then back to the Lakers in the same season. At that point, even fans were like, "Can this dude catch a break?" Then it kept going. Raptors in 2023, Nets in 2024, Warriors in 2024 to 25, and now the Kings, 10 teams in 12 years. Every stop feels like a tryout, not a home. You can feel the pressure through the screen. Dennis plays like someone constantly proving he belongs because the league keeps reminding him that nothing is permanent. His NBA story isn't about dominance or legacy, it's about movement. He's basically the league's human trade asset. Fans joke that he's always included in deals, never the centerpiece teams build around. And here's the wild irony. Dennis once called the trade deadline modern slavery, saying players have no control over where they end up. Then year after year, he kept getting moved anyway. It's like he ended up living out his own words. The NBA doesn't respond well to players who act like alpha dogs without the resume to back it up. Dennis has never been all NBA. He's never led a team deep into the postseason. Even with solid stats, he's seen as an energy and hustle guy, not a franchise pillar. Now here's the twist. Internationally, Dennis is a hero. In Germany and across Europe, he's that guy. National team leader, captain, big moments, big respect. But in the NBA, he's just another solid player fighting for relevance. And that gap between how he sees himself and how the league sees him is why moments like the Luka hallway situation hit so hard. That's why fans reacted the way they did. This wasn't just about trash talk, it was about identity, ego, and a player realizing the league doesn't see him the way he sees himself. This was never just about one night or one hallway moment. It was about everything Dennis Schroeder represents in the NBA right now, and the internet absolutely exploded the second the story broke. NBA Twitter went into full meltdown mode, clips everywhere, debates nonstop, and it wasn't just fans stirring the pot anymore. Even NBA players jumped in. Iman Shumpert didn't hold back, calling it straight disrespectful to think you could walk up on Luka Doncic like that and expect zero consequences. That comment alone poured gasoline on the fire, because when players say it publicly, fans listen. Then came the comparisons, and that's where things really got loud. Fans started lining this moment up next to past NBA blow-ups. Ron Artest, locker room confrontations, raw tensions spilling past the court, and even Draymond Green clashing with teammates and opponents over the years. People even brought up Rasheed Wallace and that old school era where emotions ran hot and nobody pretended otherwise. Here's the key difference though, and fans made it clear. Every one of those guys had undeniable impact, dominance, or legacy backing up their behavior. They weren't just loud, they were central pieces to winning basketball. That's where the disconnect hits hard for Dennis. The league has always had room for emotion, edge, and confrontation. But the unwritten rule is simple. If you're going to bring that energy, your resume better match it. So when Schroeder stepped into that hallway thinking he could test Luka and walk away untouched, reality checked him fast. Not because emotions aren't allowed, but because hierarchy matters in this league, and fans understand that instinctively. This wasn't a random bad night or a fluke moment. It was years of tension, perception, and reputation crashing into one narrow hallway all at once. So now it's on you. If you were standing there watching it unfold, who are you siding with and why do you think it played out the way it did?